Have you ever felt like you are on a spinning wheel, going through the motions but never really breaking free? Picture this. You're standing at a crossroads between who you are and who you want to be, watching the clock tick by. It's that uneasy feeling that maybe, just maybe, you're capable of more. If that strikes a chord, stay with me. By the end, you'll see how solid inner control can lead to deeper confidence, sharper thinking, and a life guided by your own terms. Subscribe if you find this path compelling, and let us walk it together. Battling inner chaos. Every morning, you might wake up with your heart racing about the day ahead. Meetings at work, family obligations at home, and a dozen tiny fires to put out. It feels like you're sprinting before you've even had time for a proper breath. Your mind jumps from one worry to another. You question if there's any point in trying to create order in a life that seems beyond your control. I remember a time when my own routine felt like a storm of deadlines, guilt, and sleepless nights. At one point, I snapped at a close friend because I was drowning in tasks I couldn't manage. Somehow, I turned it around and blamed them. Why can't you understand how busy I am? But deep down, I knew the chaos was inside me. I felt trapped in my own disorganized mind, and the frustration I directed at others was really frustration with myself. According to many Stoic writings, Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, pain often blooms from the disconnect between our expectations and reality. We want calm, but invite chaos by never setting healthy boundaries. We want respect, but trample our own self-worth by overcommitting or avoiding tough conversations. We secretly hope external conditions will magically fix our inner disarray. They won't. Stoicism asserts that external events are largely beyond our grasp, but we can master our response to them. That mastery requires clarity about what's within our control, our thoughts, choices, and standards. Think of life's daily swirl like a raging river. You can't halt the current, but you can learn to swim skillfully. The real trick is to set firm internal principles that act like a compass. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself repeatedly in his meditations that the mind can stay steady even when the world spins, he says. Once you accept that, order emerges from chaos. When I embraced these Stoic ideas, I realized I needed to stop looking outward for a break from the chaos. I started small. I dedicated just 15 minutes each day to writing down the biggest stress points. Slowly, patterns emerged. I saw how my own decisions created or worsened many of my problems. Recognizing that was eye-opening. Over time, I took deliberate steps, saying no when needed, asking for help when it was wise, and pacing my workload. That shift made me calmer and more present for the people around me. If you see your life in a state of constant overwhelm, take one concrete step. Write down the worries that haunt you the most. Then ask, which of these can I actually influence? Focus on those you can shape. Let the rest be. That's how you begin mastering inner chaos. The aim isn't to escape life's storms, but to navigate them with poise and a clear mind. And once you start taking ownership, you'll discover a newfound sense of respect for yourself, a key to feeling truly grounded. 2. Facing conflict at home and work. Conflict can brew anywhere. Heated debates in the office, tense dinners at home, or moments of biting sarcasm. You might wonder, why is everyone so difficult? Is it me or is it them? It's especially tough if you're trying to keep the peace but end up caught in the middle, taking the brunt of everyone's frustration. I used to feel like a punching bag at my old job. Deadlines loomed, coworkers bickered over minor details, and clients demanded unrealistic results. At home, I was expected to be fully present, cooking, cleaning, rowing. It reached a tipping point one night when a small chore at home went in one side, and I blew up at my family. In that heated moment, I blamed them for expecting too much from me. But beneath my anger was a realization. I was juggling too many burdens without ever explaining my limits. Stoic thinkers remind us that pain intensifies when we ignore or deny our role in a problem. Conflict feels overwhelming because we assume we're powerless, or that others must change first. Seneca wrote about how we often imprison ourselves with illusions, believing we're victims of an unchangeable fate. But more often, the conflict feeds on our unspoken grudges, unexpressed needs, and unwillingness to compromise. Stoicism suggests recognizing which elements of a conflict you can mold. You can't fully direct how others behave, but you can guide your own reactions. Epictetus taught that it's not events that trouble us, but the judgments we make about them. In simpler terms, if you see your co-worker's demanding tone as a personal attack, anger will ignite. But if you interpret it as their own stress boiling over, you can respond calmly, maybe even diffuse the tension. That mental shift, understanding that you own your perspective, can transform a clash into a collaborative dialogue. Once I tried a new approach at work. During a project meltdown, I pulled my team aside. Instead of pointing fingers, I admitted my own oversight. I hadn't clarified the timeline. By doing so, I opened the door for honest communication without hostility. At home, I had a similar revelation. I realized I never voiced my exhaustion. I just expected people to guess. After a family talk, where I laid out my schedule and concerns, we found ways to split tasks. This new honesty didn't solve every conflict instantly, but it eased tensions because we focused on solutions rather than blaming. If you're in a cycle of conflicts, here's a simple step. List the top 3 tension points in your daily life. Be brutally honest about how you contribute to each one, maybe through silence, avoidance, or abruptness. Next, think of a single action you can take to address each point. It could be an apology, a quiet talk, or setting a boundary. Remember, you don't have to wait for everyone else to change. Once you show responsibility for your part, it often inspires a ripple effect of respect and openness. That's how you shift from enduring conflicts to guiding it. 3. Overcoming destructive emotions. We all know how it feels to be swallowed by anger, jealousy, or despair. One moment you're fine, and the next a single thought or event lights a fuse. These emotions can wreck entire days or even years if they keep festering. You might ask, why do I lose control so easily? Or am I doomed to stay stuck in these emotional whirlwinds? I used to deal with anger that erupted almost without warning. I'd slam doors, stew in resentment, and slightly accuse others of causing my misery. Looking back, it was like carrying a hot coal, burning myself while plotting to throw it at someone else. But the truth was that my frustration was a reflection of my own perceived helplessness. Instead of seeking a better way to cope, I gave in to volcanic bursts of rage. In Stoic terms, These destructive emotions usually flare up because of unrealistic expectations and unchecked perceptions. Marcus Aurelius observed how we magnify events in our mind, blowing them out of proportion until they control us. If you believe you deserve a frictionless day, even a small hiccup at work can feel like a personal attack. It's not the event itself, it's how you interpret its meaning. That's why anger and other strong emotions escalate so quickly. A key Stoic principle is that it's okay to feel the initial spark of emotion. Denying it doesn't help. What matters is choosing how you respond next. You can stoke the fire of anger or step back and question its source. Seneca advocated a moment of reflection. Ask yourself, is this worth the wear on my mind? By pausing to examine whether your reaction is justified, you gain the upper hand. Self-control isn't about being emotionless. It's about harnessing your emotions rather than being led by them. I learned this lesson the hard way when I ruined a close friendship by lashing out during a disagreement. The next day I felt terrible, so I started journaling whenever I sensed anger rising. At first it was awkward. I'd scribble furious notes about how life was unfair. But after a while, patterns emerged. Often, I was upset because I'd let small issues build up. Once I realized that, I practiced direct but calm communication instead of bottling everything up. Over time, not only did my anger subside, but my relationships improved. If you struggle with explosive emotions, start a simple reflection habit. When you feel anger or despair creeping in, pause for a short count of 5. Then ask, what's the story I'm telling myself? Write it down if you can. This small act helps you see your assumptions in black and white, often revealing how exaggerated they might be. Little by little, you'll train your mind to handle emotional waves with grace. Remember, strength isn't measured by how hard you hit back, but by how well you can stand in the current without drowning. Building self-mastery and true confidence. We often think confidence is something people are born with. They walk into a room and command attention, while others hide in the corner. But real confidence has more to do with discipline, self-awareness, and the belief that you can adapt and grow, even in challenging situations. It's not about loudness or bravado. It's about steady inner power. I used to assume confident people were just lucky. Meanwhile, I'd berate myself, thinking I was too shy or too flawed to ever stand on that level. I'd attend family gatherings or work events and keep quiet, blaming my lack of confidence on the extroverts hogging the spotlight. In reality, I was avoiding the vulnerability that comes with stepping outside my comfort zone. My frustration with others was actually frustration with myself for not trying. This kind of pain often stems from comparing our internal uncertainties to others' external image. We see someone effortlessly navigating a social setting and assume they have it all figured out. But Stoic researchers and philosophers, like Cleanthes, point out that mastery over one's mind and actions is a learned skill. By setting personal standards and working methodically toward them, you build genuine confidence that doesn't vanish under criticism. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what you can influence, your efforts, your habits, your dedication to growth, and letting go of what you can't, like others' opinions. By doing so, you invest your energy in real development. The concept of voluntary discomfort is a key Stoic practice. You challenge yourself in small, manageable ways, like speaking up in a meeting or trying a new skill, so you develop resilience to larger risks down the road. Over time, these small victories accumulate into authentic self-assurance. When I felt stuck, I picked one area to challenge myself: public speaking at work. I signed up to present on minor topics at first, trembling inside but pushing forward. After each presentation, I'd jot down what went well and what didn't. Initially, I thought the negative feedback would break me, but it actually grounded me. I saw that mistakes were just stepping stones, not definitions of my worth. With each practice, my confidence grew, rooted in reality, not ego. If you yearn for deeper self-mastery and genuine confidence, start small. Choose a task that scares you just enough to stretch your limits. It could be voicing an idea in a meeting or reaching out to someone you admire for advice. The point is to act, observe, and refine. Keep a record of your victories, no matter how small, and see how each step adds to your foundation. True confidence emerges when you realize you can face adversity, learn from it, and keep moving forward without losing respect for yourself. We've explored facing chaos, easing conflicts, managing emotions, and building authentic confidence. Underneath all these lessons, the Stoic thread is clear. You have power over your thoughts, your choice, and the standards you set for yourself. Life will always toss challenges your way, but every setback is also a chance to refine your inner compass. In the end, being your own master doesn't mean you control the world. It means you've learned to control yourself. It's the daily decision to respond with clarity instead of panic, to set boundaries instead of letting chaos run you, and to treat your own ideals as the measure of your success. Each step you take on this path, no matter how small, builds the future you've always felt was just out of reach. If these words resonate, consider subscribing for more deep dives into wisdom that stands the test of time.